round of your Simraceway single-seater championship. This time, we've got the loader Formula 3s around Zandvoort, and what a car and track combination it is. This series always throws up some magnificent results. We've seen some breathtaking passing in the past rounds, and with us to call the action today is myself, Liam Jenkins, and my co-commentator, John Daniels. Now, John, Zandvoort, very difficult circuit, and this car maybe not ideally suited to it, but should throw up some interesting results.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I back a long time ago when this was actually a Sunday race-off combo, and I was in it, and it is a hard track and car combo. I mean, you're struggling with low-speed corners and getting the grip down, and the downforce is not there. And then in the faster corners, you're dealing with heavy understeer. It drives any driver mad at this point.
Yeah, plenty of elevation changes, plenty of challenges stand before the drivers today. And let's quickly give you a rundown of who's really mastering those challenges. It is Lounger that is currently on provisional pole position in the final 2.5 minutes of this session. Lolin Fox in second with Mepte making his return in third position. Anxiety P4 with Baxagaba 57 in P5. Mr. PA starts in sixth currently, in front of Seacom in seventh, Blue Fatality in eighth, Fregel ninth, Ondrek Passer 10th, Luke Sky 11th, Diamondback in 12th place, and El Nino in 13th with B13 when he sets a time in 14th position. So a big grid, a very tight circuit. How difficult is overtaking going to be for these guys today?
Very hard. I mean, yesterday in the heats that I was commentating on yesterday, it was very hard to pass, and you saw, I mean, what would make some wars look tame almost. Just back and forth, and you don't necessarily have to be a good blocker to be able to block, but you do have some good opportunities, like turn one right now, where you can get the draft off the guy in front of you and possibly overtake in that case. And also the chicane, that little chicane S curve before the penultimate corner, that's also a very good potential place, as long as you can get the previous corner to it right.
Indeed, so we'll have to wait and see just who really can master these challenges, but right now it's still looking like Lounger's the man to watch. There's only 1 second left and qualifying has officially finished, so drivers will get to finish their current qualifying attempts. But Lounger, interestingly, back in the pit lane, he's done the most laps of anybody, doing 8. The nearest to him was Baxagaba, but he currently sits in 5th, having done 7 laps. So 8 laps in a 10-minute session is not a bad way to go about it. That's a lot of track time. He would have seen pretty much every track circumstance possible, so through traffic and through the dead time. So just as the track starts to rubber in, he's done himself a good time. He's now 7 tenths faster almost than the car nearest to him, who is Lolin Fox currently. Then Mepte 3rd, Anxiety 4th, and Baxo 5th, but still plenty of drivers looking to finish their laps.
Yeah, and trying to potentially improve, like in the case with them, Mepte and Lolin Fox, there's only 8 1,000ths of a second. So both drivers are potentially looking to see if their times increase. Fox doesn't. Neither does Mepte.
So those two will start from 2nd and 3rd respectively, but with a gap that tight, the run down into the first corner is definitely going to be one to be beholden, because Anxiety's surely going to think that round the outside he can make his move, he can make his mark. With Baxo P5 still, Mr. PA 6th, Seacom 7th, Blue Fatality in 8th place, B13 9th still, Fregel 10th, Luke Sky in just been pushed down there as Diamondback goes 11th, so Luke Sky now 12th, Ondrek Passer 13th, and still to set a time is El Nino after B13 jumped up to 9th, so a late jump there for B13, but right in the heart of the field, it's going to be pretty scary going into turn 1 for him.
Yeah. Of course I'm not in there, so that might help things a lot, considering my reputation.
Wait and see how it all pans out though, but as we wait for the official qualifying session to finish, we'll see if El Nino can get across the line and get himself substantially higher. I think a lot of drivers are going to be watching El Nino, but that is the end of the session, and we'll be right back with you with the full race. So, Zandvoort is the venue for the next round of your Simraceway single-seater series live here on the official Simraceway YouTube channel. Liam Jenkins and John Daniels in the commentary box calling all of the action from this prestigious championship. Lounger took a commanding pole position, but all of the action has been going on behind. Lolin Fox, Mepte, Anxiety, and Baxagaba have been very, very close in terms of lap time. Let's see what they can do into turn one as we await the arrival of the lights. As we now have 4, and away we go. Big start there by Lounger indeed on the outside. He's got to cut to the inside line. Disadvantage, in fact, of starting on pole here is that you do start on the outside line, but luckily he's able to cover very nicely. Lolin Fox is looking to try and cut underneath him, but not quite there just yet. Anxiety slots in behind in P4. Mepte holds third as they scramble through that very difficult first little S-bend in towards turn number 3. B13 there on the inside as well as Seacombe. Oh, Seacombe goes wide in fact, and he's off into the grass. And that's going to be so crucial at this stage. Luckily he's got quite a long time to pull his way back forward, but not the best start to a race, John.
Yeah, I mean, and it was just reiterating what I was saying earlier during qualifying. You know, you've got so much low speeds and no downforce on the car. It's almost perfect situation there, and chicane, that little chicane S, and also the other tight curve that the leaders are coming through right now, and looks like Andrew Capaz has spun as well.
Indeed, not a good start for him at all, but as Anxiety looks to push onto the back of Mepte, Mepte's got other ideas. He's already pressuring the man in second as he looks to the inside of that chicane. Very difficult to pass through there, just due to the sheer complexity of the corner. And Lounger, with a bit of wheel spin coming out, of course the tyres and brakes on these cars still stone cold after being sat on the grid for so long. They've got to get them up to temperature through this double right-hander and in towards the end of what has been simply a very eventful first lap. Mepte in the draft of Lolin Fox. We'll see what he can do here, but the rest of the field also have been setting their own battles as Mr. PA comes under big threats there from B136. B13 to the inside then, into the first corner, lap number 2. What can he do? The answer is not a lot. Mr. PA has that covered very securely.
Yeah, and also we saw Mepte nearly get passed by Xfinity there. He's trying to hold him off there while still getting Fox right there coming out of the hairpin coming up the hill. Very tricky to do. Oh, you know, being in the catbird seat essentially. Right there.
It really is, and look at Blue Fatality. Oh, they almost touched there. Very close racing, and Fatality having to back out of that one. That could have ended in certain contact. Somehow they didn't come together. That was quite miraculous. But we've got to turn our attention back to what Anxiety's doing, because that three-way battle now over second position. Lolin Fox leads it at the moment as Mepte tries to look for a very ambitious move around the outside that leaves him vulnerable to a bit of an offensive drive from Anxiety. We'll see if he can get anything going within the next couple of corners. He does have this in his got, but unfortunately for him, Mepte covers his lines very neatly indeed.
Yeah, and also he's Blue Fatality just now is getting getting the position back on PA as they come out of there and through the penultimate corner, but looks like PA will be able to get his draft as he pushes him down now through the corner.
He's got to be careful. He almost wants to use him as almost a getaway, doesn't he? Because look at B13 now all over the rear end of him, and now the Hunter's become the hunted, because up to the inside goes B136, and Mr. P's got nowhere to go. And after being boxed, and I think he may have made a bit of contact there with Fatality, at least on the rear end.
Yeah.
Two luckily end up still on the racetrack, but very scary moment indeed. And B13 again now looking a bit feisty. We're only on lap 3 out of 20, and these guys are racing like it's a 5-lap sprint.
I mean, who can blame them? This is the start. You need to get everything you can. I'm doing the same as from experience. Although you can lose a lot, there's a lot to be gained. Although you still can't win the race on the first corner.
Very good point, and one man who may have actually won the race on the first corner could be Laundry's.
He doesn't get any draft from Fox. It doesn't get any draft off him. That's all he needs to make sure he does.
And as they come towards the end of another lap, Lounger's gap's surely still extending. It's a Three Musketeers battle down the main straight into the first corner for the 4th time today. Who will be the man on the move this lap? It looks like it's going to be Mepte, indeed it is. Yeah. Mepte on the assault, Lolin Fox to the inside. And it's a very cheeky maneuver, a bit of banging and clanging, but very nice move there by Mepte. His return to Simraceway sees him take second so far.
Good job on the draft on him right there. But he needs to be careful and watch his back. Because now he's got, not only got two, he's now got 2 hunters on him. Now looking very hungry for that second position. And
look at this, coming right back, he's not in Fox, and that very almost ended in tears. He's trying to go through a line where you really can't fit another car. He's being quite aggressive with his driving style right here, and that's just leaving him a bit too vulnerable to a counter-attack from Anxiety. But we'll have to wait and see what Anxiety's got planned.
Ooh,
so he's trying to go to the inside there, isn't he?
Yeah, that's a hard corner to pass right there. You got your brakes locking up right there, and the lack of downforce, like I was saying. And you got and then you almost saw it right there. You nearly lost the car on exit in the corner right there.
It's very difficult in these cars, but if you take a look a bit further down the field, there's still plenty of action developing throughout all battles, in fact. As far back as El Nino in 11th is still trying to fend off Luke Sky in 12th. That entire train is looking pretty close together. B13 trying to recover after what was a dreadful start. Talking of dreadful, we've got a big crash in the back. He comes off again slightly. Oh, he saves it very nicely, but the car was completely sideways. It's El Nino that's had an off. He's lost the front wing, and PA as well. Down to 12. Mr. PA was a bit further up than that. That's not where he found himself being. Oh dear. And well, the Formula Ford race has come back to Simraceway, isn't it? As El Nino gets his way back to the pit lane, but on to another lap. Anxiety still attacking Nolin Fox and getting closer.
Dickham nearly made the pass there on PA in turn 1, but didn't have enough speed to draft there. And then you still got the battle for 5th and 6th going on right now. B13 is all over blue fatality. He can make a move up this corner right now, but you've got to be very brave to make that stick.
A corner which very much reminds people of maybe one of the 2 Lesmo corners at Monza, or maybe the Parabolic. A very difficult corner to master indeed, let alone overtake on. And B13's got to be strategic with this one. Does get that's exactly what can happen when you get the power down too early. And the circuit and the car combo is so punishing.
Oh, that is painstaking. I think he's left the race now.
Mr. PA spun again, in fact. No damage to the car, but PA down to 12th as it is. Making that 13th as Andreic Passer gets his way through. Mr. PA seems to be going from bad to worse here.
Yeah, that's often how it can go. I mean, I'm saying that from personal experience with when they were doing the SRO with this many weeks ago. Where I basically started in mid-back and the store was busy going backwards. I almost finished last. It was an embarrassing bit.
As we come towards the end of another lap as well. And John, as we say, you've driven this circuit quite a lot. You've had your own experiences here. How difficult is it now for it going to be in the shoes of Anxiety? He's got 2 cars up in front. They're battling for a podium. They're only just a quarter of the way through the race. I mean, what sort of approach have you got to take in this situation?
There's two ways you can see this. You can see this as just wait for them to mess up, you know. And I can say that now. Well, depending on the driver and how well you know them, like some of the people I know from the races I take part in, they'll take each other out. I've learned that from experience. And then sometimes, if you know, it's like Fox and Nepti, they're smarter drivers. They'll make less mistakes, so that kind of forces you into a bad shot and makes you have to overtake with them, like Axfitty's doing right now. They go many speeds.
Yeah, he's going to the inside through a very difficult corner indeed. He's got to be careful because he could have easily overshot that. But masterfully done. And Anxiety, as we said, he's just been needing a run of consistency as of late. He got a great result last weekend. And the only thing that stopped this man from being one of the greats is that run of consistency. He's a brilliant driver. His racecraft is impeccable. His overtaking moves are as creative as you could possibly imagine. But he just doesn't quite have the consistency. Are we going to see the comeback of Anxiety now? Is he going to finally find that consistent run that he needs to become a championship contender?
Yeah, I think so, personally. But Fox, if to be honest with you, just there in turn 1, if Nepti hadn't been in front of Axfitty giving him a draft, Fox would have made lunch of him. I mean, he had the draft and all.
He really did. It was a nice, simple maneuver for him in the long run, but further back through the field. Some smoke coming off out of turn 2 as Luke Sky tries to once again attack Diamondback. Those two not really separated by a lot, just over a second in the battle for 8th position as the field's taken a mighty step back in terms of that train. It's almost like a tactical nukers separated the drivers. We've still got that battle. P11 as Mr. PA and Andrew Ikpasa still duel away. Andrew doing everything he can right now to keep his car in front, but I think PA just may try and use that mastermind, those good months of racing experience to put a move on him. We'll see what he can do. PA's looking very dangerous right now, however, in P12.
Someone thinks... Okay, never mind. Thought I saw someone spin.
And look at just so you can see Andre Ikpasa trying to hold on, but PA again to the outside, just almost teasing with him now. And PA cannot afford to hang around, and he's not. He's charging at every possible corner to find a way through. Great defending there by Andre, but it may not stay there for long. PA is looking absolutely ruthless out there today.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He spun out earlier, and he's trying to get back whatever he can. And from the mindset of the person who is blocking the guard behind, once they start getting your nose under them, then they can start taunting you like that. It's game over at that point, because you start to realize what they can do, and then you try and counter, and they create something else to go. As PA looks to be on the inside, he gets it. But Andrew can he use that? Almost uses the banking there to possibly get the position back, but let's see if he can counter as they come through the third hairpin, I should say.
It just wasn't quite there at the end of the day, despite his best efforts. A masterful move again by PA, but it seems that Andre not going to let him run away, using all the tracking a bit more there, it seems, taking a bit more of a farming route around the circuit. But let's see what's up for stake now, though, as we take a look back towards the front of the field. The three-way battle for second place still very much alive, with Anxiety taking the reins. Oh wow,
hate to miss that, because that was looking a very interesting battle right there. And still Backhouse and Blue Fatality are all still very much right there battling each other.
Yeah, they really are, and despite Anxiety taking the reins of that battle, they're still not separated by a lot. It's not like Anxiety's been able to get out, show his true class, and escape them, and maybe start trying to dent in towards Lounge's lead. In fact, Mepday and Lonin Fox have both kept him within very close contention, being no more than just a few hundredths of a second away.
Right, and that's what you got to do. There's a small window of time that you can have that draft. Oh, and Lounger's banned. Lounger's lost his front wing coming out of the hairpin. That puts Xfinity to the lead. That's now the battle of the lifetime right now that they're going after.
So that is absolutely remarkable then, because Launer, he's can't get the car started. He's rolling down the hill. The car's sat in neutral and there's no front wing now. Has he killed the engine? If he has, the man who's taken pole position, and then he's out of the race. And the pole sitter, the man who's led 9 laps out of 9 so far, is now out of the race.
Xfinity must have predicted this almost, kind of in a bad way. And now Mepty, the stakes have just gotten so much higher right now. Can Xfinity hold him off and keep the win? It looks potentially good right now as they come through that chicane S.
He made a very good point there, because now the battle for what was second is now a battle for the race lead, and in the final, well, it could be big race for these drivers right now. There's not too many races left in this championship. If they can get a big result here today, it's going to be so crucial. Anxiety leads a lap now. He's leading the 2 cars behind him. He's got clean air up in front. It's all about him versus the tarmac. He cannot be focused on what's in his mirrors.
Yeah, that's a very distracting thing coming from a person who is one of the better... I consider myself one of the better blockers of this. But then again, I'm not really that good either. But he needs to be careful, you know. I mean, Mepty is still within what I consider would be a good dive bombing range if he can make it work. But that's just my personal view of how passing and all that.
Yeah, dive bombing round Zandvoort is always a big risk, but still Meptay's made off, though, as we say, his return to championship racing here in Simraceway as Anxiety looks to keep him at bay, but maybe Meptay just trying to play it smart. He realises that Lolin Fox is still very much a threat. If he can use Axvarti down the straights to pull away, why not do a bit of a two-car tandem, get himself out of contention, then focus on taking the lead? Because right now, if you can just take second and you can secure it, then why not? Big points mean big prizes here in Simraceway. Neptay's got to play this smart with over half the race left to go.
Oh, I mean, yeah. He's still, like I said, in that catbird seat. He could potentially get he could in the hunter, or let me better phrase that, hunter in the hunted seat. Hunted by Fox to get second position, and the hunter to X to get that first position and all that fame and glory.
Definitely over the line goes Axvarti again though, doing another lap, so we're officially halfway through the race. And a quick update as to what the standings are if you're just joining us on this glorious evening here at Simraceway. Will be the last actual Simraceway event of April, so new month, new events. There's going to be some big plans coming as you've got a new track this week of Cadwell Park joining the roster. So let's take a look at how things stand halfway through the race, and it is Axvarti that leads, Mepday second, Lolin Fox in P3, fourth place for Blue Fatality, fifth place back to Gaber, Fregel is in sixth with Luke Sky seventh, Seacom in eighth place, ninth Diamondback, 10th is Androic Passer after what was simply a very tense few moments with Mr. PA. He's actually got back in front with PA and has kept himself there ever since. So PA maybe must have made an error. Then out of the race are, well, it's only Launger so far. Then we've got El Nino and B13 who round out the order so far. But the main story of the day, John, surely got to be the pole sitter who took such a commanding lead in the early stages of this one, who now sits from the pit box watching the remaining half of this race.
Yeah, and that was just kind of saying how hard a combo this is. I mean, anyone could spin out at one point. Also, I do want to point out something with our battle for the lead right now. Just from my opinion, it's looking like for that chicane S, Axvarti is just getting enough of a better break Mepty to get in, and it's just, although Mepty can better get a good, better run off, it's just not, he can't get close enough to benefit from the draft, because looks like he can get something here if he tries hard enough. Can he? Axvarti to the outside, and he does it. He does it. Just need to be careful.
Still a very good pass there indeed, and the question is, can Mepday hold on to this now? Because it's one thing overtaking a driver and staying there, it's another thing doing it in a championship in the lead of a race. Will the pressure rise? I think it may have done. A tiny error coming out, and Axvarti tries to loop right round the outside. It's a very tense couple of corners, and I think he's done it. A great retake of the move there by Axvarti.
Yeah, I mean, if Mepday could have held on in through this corner now, he would have that spot. I mean, it is almost second to impossible to pass on the outside on that corner. I say second to impossible only because I've done it once. Axvarti gets a little loose out there on the exit of that previous corner right now.
And now Mepday, they're looking a bit more dangerous than what he was previously. Let's just take a look and see what he's got up his sleeve then to the inside. Not quite there just yet, not enough room, and now Lolin Fox has got maybe a chance. It's the closest he's been in quite some time. He's got the perfect view in the house, watching this battle develop. But time now maybe going to start running out. They come towards the end of lap number 12, and it is still Axvarti that leads the way, but barely. After Mepday did almost do one over on him very shortly.
Yeah, and what I was pointing out earlier was, you notice how Fox got in so close through that chicane S, and Axvarti pulled away to where he did now. That just kind of shows where Mepty needs to improve. No, and Axvarti needs to improve himself with that exit out of that corner.
Oh, and look at Lolin Fox getting closer and closer each time. You've got to feel like that maybe even Lolin Fox could be the man to take the victory, not one of the two main contenders. He's sat there patiently biding his time, not making any risky manoeuvres, and in turn it's let him not only a third position, but he's only 0.4 of a second away from the man in the lead of the race at the moment. So a very good strategy here by Lolin Fox. So Blue Fatality barely holding off from back to Gabe, but that could be a battle to watch as time wears on. Then also just behind you've got Seacom and Luke Sky, those two who've seemingly moved up the order very quickly indeed. Luke Sky now 7th, was previously in P12.
Yeah. And the battle at the front's still very much raging heavily. But yeah, Fox has been biding his time and just being smart and all that. Not taking an aggressive almost losing it there in the entrance to the chicane. So, you know, almost a random wheel of who's going to almost spin, playing every lap going through there.
Yeah, we've got Anxiety and Map Day still looking pretty strong indeed at the front of the field as they complete yet another lap of the gorgeous Zandvoort circuit. Still Rolling Fox keeping them in close check. An update on lap times then. It was Anxiety a 1:33.04, a 1:32.8 from Map Day and a 1:33.1. But now those seem like very different times indeed. But when you look at the action on track, that is not a 2-second deficit at all. And it's such a shame because you could be doing the best lap times of your life, but the slipstreaming around Zandvoort and how much it offers means that you could be going as quickly as you can possibly go, and a car can be doing average times and still ride under your tailgate because of the draft.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna use this to trace back to another thing. Back when SRO 16, back when we were still in the dinosaur ages, it feels like now, where and personally, anytime we do any events at the Daytona Oval while qualifying, I'll be a little bit faster, and that's all because of the draft than the guy I'm pushing with those tandem drafts.
It's got to be all about though consistency towards the end of this one. We've said it time and time again that with 6.5 laps to go, Mepte still looking like he wants a bit of the action, like he really does want to be the man at the front of the field. And interestingly enough, Blue Fatality is now only 10 seconds away. So I wonder if he can maybe get a move on, if he can break away further from Frego. He's already 10 seconds in front. Oh, and Lolin Fox goes wide, and that's going to cost him dearly. He's already dropped a couple of seconds, and that has left the two leaders to duel amongst themselves what could be the final quarter of this race.
Indeed. Attempting a pass on the outside. Let's see if he can cut back and cross over. Coming up into the next corner, darn. If he could have kept his wing there, he would have had to lift and let him by it through there. Although we would have set him up badly for that last corner.
Oh, and both sliding there. They did not get good exits at all, and all needed Lolin Fox. And I thought he almost lost the car then. A heart was in the mouth, but luckily Fox keeps the car pointing in the right direction, to say the least. But a bit further behind, Frego drilling very heavily there with Seacombe, who goes to the inside. He's planted his car perfectly, but it's not quite there. Frego runs wide. Seacombe cannot punish him for it seems.
Indeed, I mean, and that's just agony from, the guy behind. I mean, you can see he's messing up. You can see he's messing up, and you're just trying to figure out what you can do to pass, and that's a person insane almost. Just the agony of the sport. And Bakos Gabor nearly doing a dive bomb on Seacombe right there, and making contact through that last corner. Just showing, how potentially bad how bad you can mess up with that.
Yeah, definitely, and now you can see Frego, Seacombe, Baxo, and Luke all very close and all very much so within contention. Luke having dropped back now to 8th position. It was 7th a minute ago. Maybe just didn't quite go to plan last lap, but we'll see if he can fight his way back through the field. And we've said before that this series offers some very close finishes indeed, and
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if we saw another nail biter here today.
Oh yeah, I always love exciting races. I mean, it does all orders for my potential age, but it's very exciting to watch.
No, it really is. It doesn't matter just how old you are. Motorsport can throw up some of the most surprising results. I wonder if we're going to get blessed with another one today as Mepte looks to just maybe carve into what Anxiety's created. Since he's really took the lead though, John, I mean, he hasn't really looked like to be too much under a lot of pressure. I don't want to put a commentator's curse on it, but Mepte's not had that same intimidation effect that he's had maybe 5-10 laps ago.
Right, I think it's maybe, I don't want to say it's like something like the car's going away on him or something, because he's still very much there. It's a case of give and take almost. You'll see one lap that Mepte can potentially pass, and then the other lap you see Xfinity pull away. And in some corners it's also give and take, like right there. You always see Xfinity can just brake a little bit later and take a wider entry. If Mepte could kind of mirror Xfinity, he could potentially go faster, and that's one of the first things you try to do if you can't pass the guy. and all.
And over the line again, lap times that time by 1:32.9 all round. In fact, it was Mepte 200th of a second faster. Colin Fox, though, getting himself back in contention at 1:33.1. He wasn't that far away, but obviously the main issue there is going to be that he's not going to have the slipstream that he had 5-10 laps ago. He's now just on his own, trying to claw his way back towards that front battle, and that's a lot harder than anticipated, especially with such a short amount of time left on the race clock.
Yeah, a couple of things I wanted to point out. Baker Skabor has stopped on track. He's left the game now. And from 10th. I just want to point that out. And yeah, what I was saying with that give and take, like you saw through at the start finish line, the gap was a little over, just a hair over 0.5 of a second. Now it's almost half that. Now, so it's very much give and take through the different sectors. I want to say that sector you need to be best in the exit from Sector 3 going into Sector 1. Xfinity has the edge through that, while Mepte can get it back through the twisty bits. It's almost a case of like Monza, where what do you want to do? You want to have more downforce for the Lesmos and goes faster through there, but you have to be in front, kind of case, for it to work.
Absolutely. 3 laps to go, and something I have just picked up on, Svarti's got that pit button lit bright red. So, has he underfueled? Is there a slight issue, or is this just maybe an accidental press of the wheel? Because if Svarti pits in now, that will be yet another shock in what's already been a very exciting afternoon of racing. Colin Fox still sits gladly in P3 as he tries to claw his way back, as we said earlier on. Seacombe's also got the button lit. Is this a common problem if a lot of drivers maybe underfuel Diamondback as well in 8th? Is it likely that drivers can be this consistently out on their fuel estimations?
Maybe. It's a potential problem. But now, from my personal experience, I've always tried to save as much fuel as I can with my strategy. Of course, that's the case. Somehow, the only times I've been able to really do anything is because of strategy. And
it also would explain as to maybe why Svarti is not pulling away as much as he should be. Because he's trying to conserve fuel, he's not going as fast as he could be. He's trying to just bring the car home, and maybe Mepte's got to realise this.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this in this normally series I watch NASCAR. If you saw the 3rd race of the year, you saw Brad Keselowski, the ultimate winner, run Dale Jr. out of gas. I mean, that's potentially what he could do if he realizes on the straight you could just hit the plus button and go to a different car and check and see. Xfinity must have turned the pit request off because I'm not seeing it now. But potentially
I think you're right. Also, I think Seacombe had it on. It's also been revoked. Diamondback has taken his off as well. So maybe a short scare there, but Svarti still leading as he starts the penultimate lap of the race then. A 1:32.7 last time round. Will that be enough to secure him victory? They're running out of corners. They're running out of time. Mepte's got to think outside the box right now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, his time running out, the frustration level gets higher and higher, and the potential for making a mistake too, as well.
And just trying to see how Mepte's approaching this situation. He's adapted quite well, I think, and if he does take second and doesn't go for the lead, then he honestly thoroughly deserves it. He's driven a great race. It's brilliant to see him back here in Simraceway racing once again with us on a competitive stage.
Yeah.
Svarti would very much like to take a victory and prove to us that he very much is back in business here, and that consistent run is going to keep continuing. He had a finish last weekend, a good finish as well, and looking to continue that today in the single-seater series. 1.5 more laps to go through the chicane. Colin Fox now 5 seconds away, maybe having settled for 3rd, but Mepte has not settled for 2nd.
I mean, yeah, we just saw there coming out of one of the corners, and I saw him almost sawing at the wheel trying to keep it back straight. I mean, he's pushing. He is trying hard right now. Is the important thing to remember at this point. It doesn't appear to be, but I mean, they're running almost identical lap times now. That's interesting. I think Mepte is starting to just employ almost anything in his arsenal. He's turn one, what we in NASCAR call diamonding the corner, where you go low in, high, center, and then low out, and that gets you a lot more speed than versus the conventional method. I don't think it's going to work unless he gets some big gains right here for this little infield sector.
No, but this is what the edge of your seat was made for, as the saying goes, because it's now only under 3/4 of a lap to go. Corners are running out, and the overtaking opportunities are slipping faster than you can say single-seater. What has Mepte got up his sleeve? Has he got enough to try and make a pass? Xvart, he's looking now at every which way to put a move through. He's got to be careful. He may have made a bit of contact right there, and Xvart has to not yield to this pressure. It's all about the clutch. Which driver is good under pressure when it's all on the line? Through the chicane they go. And he's got to get the cut back underneath, and he got a bit of oversteer there, and the car punished him for that one. That is going to ruin his run going in towards the final couple of corners, but it's so long. The run through here enables you to get a good draft if you get a good run, but he hasn't. And I think Xvarty may have just got the perfect run down the straight. It will not be enough. Xvarty moves over. He's done enough. Xvarty wins the Zandvoort round of your single-seater series. What a good victory that was indeed. Mepte takes second, Lolin Fox takes third, and Blue Fatality is going to take fourth. What a race.
Oh yeah, I mean, that was exciting. I mean, and for a while there I figured Launger had it cinched up, and then he spun, and I mean, that's just, you know, throwing everything on the table and dumping it off, and then random assortment at that point.
So Seacombe that took 5th, Luke Sky took 6th. Good result there for Luke Sky, actually. It was as low as 12th. We saw him consistently averaging about 8, so to finish 6th is a very good result indeed. Friggle takes 7th, Diamondback takes 8th place with Andreic Passer taking 9th, El Nino taking 10th, Baxagaba out of the race in 11th, followed by Mr. PA and our pole sitter Lounger with B13 in 14th position. So from myself, Liam Jenkins and John Daniels, it's goodbye from Zandvoort. We'll be back to a very spooky Area 51 for the finale of the Out of This World Championship very shortly. Hello everybody and welcome back live to your Simraceway Out of This World Championship, the finale of it at least, for 2014. We're back here at Area 51 after what was simply one of the best single-seater race series that we've seen in quite a while. We're back here at Area 51 for what could be one of the most dramatic events of the season so far. My name's Liam Jenkins and my co-commentator for tonight is not currently racing because he will be in this session. John Daniels is currently 4th at the moment. We've got Blitz P3. The man in P2 is RT Mats and your pole sitter is Luke Sky 80. So not too long left in the qualifying session to go then, just 5 minutes and 10 seconds with drivers having done roughly 2 laps each at the moment. There's still plenty of time for change, but we've got quite a big field here today, about 14 drivers in at present, and Pagani's on there are, and this circuit not exactly the easiest to manoeuvre with just one car, so let alone 2 or 3, but it does vary in its track width, which is a very unique feature that the Area 51 possesses. I haven't really seen it appear on many other circuits at all actually within Simraceway, where 1 minute you can have a really short straight with a very narrow apex coming out of a corner into a very wide straight, just like you see in Andrea Passa go through now. So you've got a very tight apex there, very tight straight, and then the very next corner after that you've got yourself almost like an airfield essentially to pass a car down, so you can have, you know, 2, 3, maybe even 4 wide without, you know, well, still plenty of room left to fit a couple of Range Rovers in there. So a very unique circuit indeed. And we'll see just how many of these drivers can utilise that to its fullest this afternoon. But right now, it's definitely looking like it's going to be Luke Sky 80. This is the B race, of course. The A race coming for you a bit later on. But 800ths of a second is what separates first from second place at the moment. Still plenty of time to go. Will that time change or no, however, is going to be a bit of a different issue. RT Metz is the man who looks to try and take it from him, but he's still a little bit too far away at this stage. On a lap, however, over the line he goes, still no improvement just yet. Over the line comes El Nino in 3rd as well. He's not too far away. He's only, in fact, 800ths of a, well, 8/10 I should say, away from RT Met. But nonetheless, just wants to get a good time. He takes 3/10 out, so does gain. And that gap is now down to 5/10 of a second. So El Nino is definitely pushing in the late stages of this one. We've still got 3 minutes of action left before us, with the majority of drivers done 2 or 3 laps each now. Jekyll 66 still not set a valid time, interestingly enough. The slowest time so far a 2:17, the fastest a 2:11, so Sean 24 in 9th is set the slowest. I'm sure that will improve as time wears on. But 2 minutes 30 to go, and it's all about taking a look at what's going on towards the very front of the field, because it's just 3/10 that separate RT Metz from Luke Sky, and that is not a safety barrier at all, especially around a circuit where time is as easy to lose as a needle in a haystack. You've got to be on top of your game here, and if you can find a bit of time, you can just find an extra place to take a bit more throttle, or maybe even just break a bit later into a corner. It can save you so much time. And as Area 51's proven before, the racing here often is quite simply extraordinary, as is its surroundings. Through the chicane goes RT Metz, and he's really not that far adrift from John Daniels in front. Now, John Daniels is actually 5th in qualifying, but is the nearest car on track in terms of track position. Because RT Metz goes over the start-finish line once again to end his third qualifying attempt. He pulls into the pits almost, but he goes fastest by 3/10 as well. So not only has he taken those 3/10 back, but he's actually beaten that time by 3/10. So an overall 6/10 of a second gain there for RT Metz. And now the Flow jumps into 3rd. He's only 100th of a second away. Very impressive time indeed there by the Flow. Is there anything left in this session? Any late twists in the tail of the flow already? Looking competitive. You've got to think as well, he may, just may, have a slipstream. The right hand nose, got Luke Sky up in front. Luke Sky who's second conveniently enough, so Luke Sky would be sowing his own destiny if the flow was able to get a slipstream on him. PA 4th, El Nino 5th, John Daniel 6th, still Blitz 7th and in the pit lane. 8th is Penge, 9th is Fraggle, 10th place Andre Passer, 11th Jekyll, 12th Tomcat, 13th is Sean, and they round out your runners for this qualifying session as it comes towards the end. What can Metz do though? He's already gone fastest. Can Luke Sky perhaps capitalise? Can the flow get a bit of time back? Flow's got a great draft of Luke Sky, it's got to be said. Their way through the 90-degree apex, and Luke with a bit of oversteer there, isn't it? That Zonda looking particularly feisty under his control as the flow pays very close attention to the tunnel, does not want to skim that wall there, and it's very easy to do so. Now the flow, oh, he's overshot the corner complete. Oh, he's caught fire! The flow is on fire, the engine has burst up in flames, the session is over, and that is a very bizarre incident. Now, did he downshift too quickly or what? The engine caught fire. Remarkable scene. It's the first time I've ever seen anything of the sort happen here in Simraceway. And as Metz crosses the line, he does not further his attempt to exceed his own qualifying time, but with the rest of the field making their way back to the pit lane, there's been no changes inside the top 4 at this late stage. There's still plenty of cars going towards the end of the laps. Mr. PA is one of them. Still a very bizarre incident indeed as PA loops himself round these final few corners once again. Oh, that left-hander El Nino jumps up to 6th place. Good lap. Oh, 5th place, I beg your pardon, as PA drops down to 6th. So can PA improve after just being knocked down out of the top 5? The answer is no, he can't. And the rest of the field make their way into the pit lane. That is quali session over. So it will be RT Metz that starts on pole. Can he convert it into a victory? Let's find out. So we'll rejoin you live very shortly for the full finale of the 900 to 1100 B-Race Skill Quant. So welcome back to what's simply been a very intriguing race so far. Apologies for the audio difficulties. We believe we've got them all sorted now, but the main battle at the front has all been about Mr. PA. It's all been about RT Mets. It's all been about the flow. PA now leads the race. We've seen John Daniels, who was fighting the fourth, had a great overtake actually. Got himself up there. Dropped down, he had a bit of a spin a few moments ago, did our American co-commentator, and that has cost him quite dearly. So apologies for the delay in sound there. We believe we've just come over the issue now, but Blitz is the man in P6 at the moment who looks to really set this race on fire. He's got to catch Penge and break away from Fregel, but Fregel may be passed there by Ondrejk. Pass there. He'll be on the outside line, of course, Ondrejk, but no, shouldn't really matter. He's going to really swing now through the next couple of corners, and Fregel can't quite do it and holds on though. So Ondrejk cannot get that pass done just yet, and we've got to feel like it's got to be brewing on the horizon. What else has Ondrejk Passer got? The answer is not quite enough at the moment, is he? Because El Nino and Sean once again still extremely close together. As Sean tries to make his way past El Nino, he's just not quite as close as he'd like to have been yet. Top four still relatively, I should say, close together. As RT Mets and PA look to do some war on the circuit. There's a second separating them through the middle sector. So a quick run through of your order at this stage, and it's PA that leads, RT Mets in P2, the Flow third, Luke Sky in fourth, Penge P5, with the man chasing him very closely now, Blitz. He's gained the big chunk of time actually through there. He's got it down to under a second now, 900ths the gap between them. He's pulled away from Ondrejk Passer as well. Then we've got, of course, a Fregel in 8th position. 9th place is El Nino. Still got a long way to go in this one indeed. See what RT Mets is capable of, though. He's looking to the inside, almost into turn 1. He shuts the door very rapidly indeed. The PA's holding on very nicely at this moment though. Nice early defensive drive, however, a lot can change. But from the get-go, after a fighting comeback through in the single-seater series a few moments ago, he's now on the other end of the scale. He's now defending as opposed to charging through the field. Indeed, it's got to be a very different sense of elation for him, from Zandvoort to Area 51, to very different cars, to very different circuits, to very different demands of a driver. And Pierre's got to discover those quickly as RT Mets tries to get some clean air in there after a very explosive qualifying. As we said, we literally saw engine blow up in qualifying, so we don't want to see any more of that. The car off to the side. That is John Daniels still having pulled over.
Yeah, I'm back, y'all.
Yes, we believe actually, yeah, so John's here. So John, first of all, just want to give you a bit of information, obviously, in a very I'd say expressive opening laps for these drivers. What exactly happened to your race out there?
Turn 1, well, I got a good start and I thought everything was fine. I was being careful. And then someone on the inside got me very loose and I wound up 6th. I then tried clawing my way back, and LN1 didn't have the pace that I had, and I was trying to overtake at different times but being cautious. I eventually spun, which y'all probably talked on. I then just hit the wall again and I sadly gave up. I hate to say.
I mean, looking on though, I mean, obviously now you know the sheer challenges that these drivers have got to face, especially those in that very intense battle at the moment between 3rd, 4th and, well, pretty much 5th and 6th as well, as the flow gets involved. 3 or 4 drivers all congested together. The Zonda's not exactly the slimmest car in the world, and this track not exactly the narrowest. How hard is it to pull off an overtaking when he was safely around here?
Depending on where you pass. I mean, it's good. I mean, if you say turn 1, that's a bit tricky because you got a high-speed corner and not a lot of room. But now if you did it somewhere, say, like at the top of the track, after that long and fast corner where you're flat out and trying to get drafting, then that's very much easier because it's a very wide bit coming to a slightly narrower bit. No.
Absolutely, and these drivers have got to be, I think, taking all this in the mental notebook because there's still plenty of action left that Area 51 has to offer. And a quick list of retirement so far: Tomcat, Jekyll, John Daniels and Sean 24, followed by Blitz out of the race. So 8 competitors left in action, and a lot of them all very closely packed together. The flow to Mr. PA just 3.8 seconds, which is after 5 laps, and you've got to remember a lap's about 2 minutes as well, so just over 10 minutes of racing. That's a very remarkable feature. It looks to me almost that Peng had a puncture there. That's a big lockup from P5, but we saw in qualifying, John, obviously the engine overheating and pretty much catching fire on one of the competitors. I mean, how let's say likely is this to happen during the race? Is it quite a likely issue with all the dirty air, or do you think the drivers will be a little bit more conservative with their driving style?
Give me just a moment. I'll get back to you on that. Just need to move the car for a moment. But, I think what we were kind of going over was, or during the warm-up meeting was, you know, drivers being too aggressive on their downshift was a big proponent of that. You need to be careful with that. I mean, personally, like for the technical sector that leaders have just gone through right now, I like to keep it in 3rd gear constantly because that way it doesn't, I don't spin the tires or spin out or anything like that. And coming from those high speed to low speed corners, you are always in that kind of potential risk because you downshift too quickly. Because you either outbrake yourself and trying to get the engine to slow you down, and that can often mean potential DNF or not even slowing down hard enough and hitting the competitor in front of you.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, you made a very good point there. It's all about trying to find the balance between consistency and speed. And a lot of drivers, obviously, through the tight corners will want to take the lower gears, get the revs up high, get the power down nice and early. But by doing that, you run the risk of downshifting too quickly, then running the revs even higher than what they would be because you've gone down to such a low gear at such a quick rate. And you can risk overheating the engine, is what we saw in qualifying. But during the race, it's all going to come down to just how comfortable you feel. I mean, if you're not entirely comfortable with running the car to its limits and ragging the life out of the thing, then maybe it's best to take a more conservative approach. A good example of this, the flow has now dropped 2.4 seconds since, but he's driving a much more conservative line. He's taking most of the corners in 3rd gear, whereas Luke Sky in 3rd is looking a lot more aggressive onto the back of RT Met. And of course, well, you're going to run those high downshift rates, so you've also got the dirty air of the car in front. So as Area 51 starts to get darker, the track temperatures also start to drop. How much of an effect will this have on the cars?
Usually what we can, with NASCAR, we know that, you know, usually the colder the temperatures go, the more power you're going to get out of the engine. So that could potentially run the cars over. And it's also kind of down to how good you maintain your car, too.
Indeed it is, and let's just see what's going on a bit further down the field then, because we do in fact have a little bit of news concerning Fregel actually. Now he's actually gaining on Penge at quite an alarming rate. The two were about 8 seconds separated last time by, they're now just 6.2. He updated as they cross the line, and also keep you filled in with lap times as they go through. So a 2:14.1 from PA, a 2:12.6 there from RT Met, so very quick indeed. Luke Sky in 3rd at 2:12.2, sorry, a 2:12.7 from the flow. Penge a 2:12.4. This is going to be the key one. How close was Fregel that time by?
Actually
It's
slower.
a bit slower actually, yeah, 2:14.4. So the gap expanded back up to 7. So Fregel must have had a bit of a mistake in those final couple of corners. Also got Luke Sky and RT Metz getting extremely close for comfort there as we approach the halfway stage of this race.
Yeah, but we also kind of see, Luke and RT battling right now. That's just music to PAs right now. Because if them two could start getting battling and start creating a gap, he can run home free. As Luke Sky comes up the inside, it's going to be a case of who gives what coming through this next corner right here.
Well, Nuska almost turned in too quickly, but stays on the inside, and that should be signed, sealed, delivered. I've got a feeling it is. And Pierre's got, Pierre's in the fence! And a big incident there. The race leader sinks down to third. Is there any sustaining damage on that car or no? He's elected to pit. He's down to fourth. Now, what exactly happened there, John?
He did the same thing I did. He outbraked himself going into that corner. But he's still got enough power to come back. I mean, we just saw him pass right there. I mean, he's still got the bear in the cage right now to be a force to be reckoned with at this moment. Just needs to be really careful. I mean, he outbraked himself. That's what you're prone to doing. You carry a lot of speed through the previous corner where you got to brake. It's unlike the Maserati GT1s where you can just lift off. You're braking, and then if you outdo it, you're coming out wide. Then you've got dirty tires, and then you can outbrake yourself again and slide wide, and then you've got that runway marker there, which is helpful to me as a pilot, but not to me as a racer. And all. So, and then he hit that, which causes a lot of damage, which is one of the biggest proponent of why I kind of gave up there at the end.
And this circuit as well, so difficult to find time, and as PA bringing his car over the line, he's down to third. Do you reckon he's still got a shot at winning this? I mean, he's only 3.9 seconds away, but as it's so once famously spoken, catching is one thing, passing truly is another.
Yeah, I mean, he does potentially have a chance, but then again, let me put this back into perspective. I could potentially get back in my car and win the race. Let me just put that all into focus. He can come back and pass, but he's got to drive better than he was earlier. I mean, I didn't check on the gaps last time around, but if he's got too much damage, then he's got too much damage and can't really drive himself around it. But if he doesn't, he has the chance to come back.
Now he's got to be careful, there's a lot to play for, and also look who's joined the bandwagon. The Flow in fourth position, not that far away at all. He's only just under a second away, and with a circuit that offers so many drafting opportunities, PA may not be the hunter we once saw, and in fact the Flow may have an outside shot here at getting a podium.
I mean, yeah, I mean, PA still got the damage from the other thing, so, and I'm going to go from personal experience to say, usually once you get damage, it's a domino effect of things that go wrong for you. So, Flo has a very good chance of getting podium if he, at this point, looks to drive a little bit more of an aggressive race, but PA almost looks like he could take himself out, theoretically at least.
Now he's driving a very aggressive race. I think what we'll do now is actually drive maybe a lap on board if we can. Brilliant cameraman Carlos, also racer who raced in the 500 to 900 A race earlier on, is now back at the helm of the cameras, and Mr. Pierre comes towards the end of a lap. Let's see just how hard he's pushing this Pagani Zonda around the gorgeous sunset here in the middle of Area 51. Let's just see what Mr. Pierre can do then. Out of the final corner he comes, and look how much drive he's going to take. Keeps it in third gear. Very careful about how much apex he does take back over the airstrip and down the main straight. Careful you don't actually go through the pit lane. It's only held off by cones. Into turn number one. Very nice and easy there. Up into third gear. And you've got to keep accelerating, get yourself over to the right-hand side of the circuit. And the next corner is very tricky indeed. A complete left-hand at right angle. You've got to be so careful. 80 mile an hour. Keeps it in third gear though, interestingly enough. Did not go back down to second. Obviously, you've got the Flow pressuring him now, so he's got to maybe start thinking about taking some defensive lines, and he does not run as close to that fence as we thought he might do. Well, he ran very close to that one, and in fact, he touched it. So, wow, you kind of go to and fro there, don't you? And in turn, that has sent him out wide through the next corner. But nonetheless, very difficult right-hander going in. Now, you're blind to the apex, in fact, as a driver. It's just pure instinct. With the runway being that ride, you've got to really just take a gamble and turn in, and then sooner or later, the more you do it, the more natural it starts to feel. Okay, now skips over that very short little kink and makes his way in towards yet another right-hander. This apex tightens up so quickly, and now the track starts to narrow, because in just a couple of moments' time, it all starts to get very tight and very twisty. You can see already someone's knocked the sign over. PA staying well clear of it, making sure he doesn't pick up any more damage to the already limping Zonda, who's done a very good job, actually, I think, to keep it in third, as Penge now catches him. We said Penge was catching the flow before. He's only a couple of seconds adrift now, and with a good chance to get a slipstream going, which is always good to see. But PA now through that left-hander in towards the tunnel. Be careful not to catch the corner. It's always so tempting to take a couple more miles an hour through there, or put your foot down a bit earlier, but the consequences can sometimes far outweigh the gratifications of doing so. But P8 makes his way very cleanly through. It's been a much tidier lap than what we've seen in recent memory, at least. Through the right-hander he goes again.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, John.
Go ahead. Oh, and
I was gonna...
Go ahead, Nate.
Oh, sorry, no, just saying that, no, Flo's made a good point. Flo was able to stick and move up the inside while watching you on board. We did miss that one, but the Flo now all over the back, Penge as well. And this is going to be key, John, because now not only is the Flo trying to get a move on, but Penge's got a great charge up the inside.
And, I mean, yeah, and I mean, Peng was attempting to pass me earlier, and that's what kind of caused me to screw up at when the track starts to come back and narrow up a bit more and all. But PA taking a little bit of a dirtier route, it seems. Flo just cannot, he's pushing too hard, I want to say. Because, I mean, I saw Flo was getting loose out of that corner. I was kind of reiterating my point I said earlier this morning, where a deep dive bomb, and, oh, how did he not lose any of his wings there? I mean, he just dive bombed and must have outbraked himself horribly there as he come up through up to runway 23.
Indeed, as Penge tries to go around the outside, it's going to be an impressive manoeuvre, and there's nothing PA can do due to the lack of speed followed from the corner before, and Penge sails off into the sunset. So now PA's got to get his game on, he's got to start attacking as Penge up. What can PA do? They're running out of laps, 3.5 to go as the night sky starts to set in here at Area 51. Luke Sky still the leader as he makes his way in towards what could be a very difficult bit of runway right now. Not too many corners left to go, but with the track getting colder, he's got no cars really in front to prove to be a distraction, so it's pretty much Luke Sky versus the tarmac, and Luke has been one of the most improved drivers of recent weeks, I'd say.
Oh yeah, I mean, yesterday during the kart races, which I normally commentate on, he won the kart race extra. I mean, I'm not trying to take him down or anything, take Luke down or anything, but I do want to also say there was a lot of action in that race to happen. I mean, whoever was not spinning was the only guy who was going straight, and the only one going straight was actually our winner, Luke, that race, Luke Sky 80, and that was.
And nonetheless, a win's a win. He'll be looking to add another win to his weekly trophy cabinet here today, though, as he starts lap number 11. So 3 laps to go off this race before we come to a conclusion. Still plenty of unsolved battles left on the circuit with Metz, Penge, PA, and the Flo as well in P5. So, I mean, still a lot to play for as the Flo gets very rowdy going in towards turn 1, but PA has not had that domineering effect we've seen earlier on. I mean, do you reckon some damage to that car's limiting the aero effect?
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's what it's a big proponent. That was one of the big reasons. And also, it can also damage the suspension bits, and you know, all that combined and just compounds into a bad situation, and that's what inevitably caused me to, unfortunately, have to leave the race and join y'all. Yeah,
very true. As PA's got to, I think, try and find something a little deeper right now, though, because Penge is seemingly blistered away, 3.4 seconds out of nowhere. Metz has got the pit button there, as has Luke Sky, and I'm wondering if it is the same as last time, where it's not, in fact, they need a pit stop, they've just pressed it by mistake, or that the fuel's just a sign the fuel's getting low, but only time will tell.
Let me go ahead and fix you on that point. The estimator's a little bit off, and he and Koss was pointing this out in the warm-up earlier for the race, saying that we need to go ahead and set everything up, set the fuel to maximum, that it will be fine for the rest of the race as long as you're careful with your fuel mileage and whatnot. And also important to remember is that, give me a sec, it's like, They were all asking, do we need a pit stop, do we need a pit stop? And that's normal for the races, but no, you didn't, so it's kind of one of those fuel's getting low situations right there.
Indeed, and over the line comes your race leader then, penultimate lap of the race, just about 5 minutes of action left until he potentially takes another victory, and what a way as well to close out this championship for Luke Sky, as we said. I mean, he's been consistently improving, now up to the B race, leading it in fact. I mean, give it another championship, I don't see why we can't see him being a regular front field competitor.
Oh, I mean, indeed. Yeah, I mean, I have those days as well. And you know, classic example was the first round of the championship, where he fortunately finished second, and inevitably went to the A race. Excuse me, and ultimately finished where I did. But Luke is right now 9th in the point standings, so this could be very much a good race for him to help everything out.
And considering drivers have a drop round as well, it will mean that one of those bad results will get removed and replaced with potentially a victory, which isn't a bad replacement, I'd say.
Oh, indeed. I mean, it helps a lot of people. Like, like if this case, if everything goes per everything, and I'm just doing the maths in my head right now, they would have this first round event dropped off, which was only an 8 points. So a win here would definitely help his point situation right now.
Absolutely, and as he's making his way through, one driver who's also looking maybe a bit more feisty is Peng in third. He's 3.7 away from RT Metz, but to me that looks a little bit out. He's looking a bit closer than that. We'll get a rough estimation next time they cross the line, but Peng is looking a bit more dangerous now, I'd say, than he was the last couple of laps.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you can taste, have that little bit of knowledge that you could potentially get them, that is more than enough to make you want to go after it and be charged if you've got nothing to lose in that kind of sense.
Right now, see already it's gone out to 2.1, so I said it was a little bit out. In fact, that gap was way out because it was 3.7. It was estimated. It's now 2.1, and a bit of a wiggle there from Peng, and that is a testament to how hard he's pushing now. This track's getting colder, it's getting slippier as they start the final lap of the afternoon. What else is going to be in store for these guys? It's going to be a tremendous final lap of racing and that battle for second place.
And yeah, give me just a sec. And yeah, that's a very potentially good race. I mean, Peng is pushing hard. I mean, you can see the fire of the brake rotors right there as he comes through that corner. He's pushing, and this is a very big circuit, so RT Metz still needs to be very much on his guard. If RT Metz has a bad corner right here, but I think Peng did put the nail in the coffin for him. He outbraked himself there, which is really bad because you need to carry as much speed as you can. This corner and straightaway are all about speed. I mean, nothing more, nothing less. And the gap increase showed itself.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've got to keep an eye though on where Luke Sky is, because he's only got about half a lap or so left until he's crowned once again a winner here in Simraceway, and he'll be absolutely over the moon with that one. But Metz and Peng third and fourth. We've got a little bit of trouble behind. We actually haven't noticed that the El Nino has retired from the race, so the man who was P7 now DNFs. That leaves 6 finishers, so a very high attrition rate indeed. As we come towards the end of this race, it's been a very frantic race. A lot of drivers being caught out by the conditions, others being caught out simply by the drivers or their own errors. But one thing's for sure, that this circuit once again lives up to the ruthless expectations of the drivers throughout every caliber.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Just kind of putting the last little bit on the Peng and RT Metz battle. The gap did shorten up, but unless something really happens to his technical sector, it looks very much like RT Metz will get second. But a very noble charge by Peng there at the end. And I bet you if he hadn't made that mistake coming out to the taxi to runway 23, I mean, we could very much have seen Peng in second and RT Metz third.
No, it could have indeed, but it was a delightful win for Luke Sky 80, who knocked the rear spoiler off in celebration. What a drive indeed. It'll be over the moon with that one. Our team at second, Penge third. It will be Mr. PA who takes a lonely fourth. They'll be so disappointed with that one. It was a great race at the start, but it wasn't to be at the end. He crosses the line now in P4. P5 will be Fregel. P6 will be the float, and that of course rounds out your field for today's race. But a massive thank you for tuning in. We've still got one last race left for you, the big one. It is the 900 to 1100A race. Myself, Liam Jenkins, and John Daniels will be right back with you in the booth to call all of the action from Area 51. Hello everybody and welcome back to what could be one of the most beautiful finishing rounds of a championship that Simraceway has simply ever seen. We've got a full 24-hour day tonight cycle to go with what could be one of the most exciting rounds of a finale that we could possibly hope for here at Area 51. It's Pro Drifter and is currently the fastest man around the circuit. We've got 6 minutes left to go in qualifying of the 900 to 1100 A race of the Out of This World Championship. Liam Jenkins and John Daniels in the commentary box. And John, after what we've seen today so far, what can we expect from tonight's race?
Well, so far from qualifying, all I can say is this. It's going to be very exciting. I mean, if you look at first and second, there was only two 1,000ths of a second separating the two. So that is going to just prove how evenly Pro Drifter and Kipu are right now.
Yeah, definitely a lot can change in those 6 minutes. We see drivers obviously picking up some gorgeous slipstreams and maybe making some cheeky times. It's all very helpful. It's all about strategy here in qualifying, but with a time that close, that's almost as fast as you can blink your eye separating two drivers. There's only 8/10 separated P1 to 5, and overall only 3.9 seconds with Axvartine 13th at the moment. So a very close field around a circuit which is very demanding.
Oh, indeed. I mean, I proved that personally from my race.
I think one of, obviously now the big factors going into this race especially is that we've seen tonight already in all of the other races where we do have the day to night cycle. You know, drivers they feel the track getting colder, the grip levels start to fade away a bit, the cars get a bit more uneasy, and therefore more mistakes come and the drivers have to adapt. Now what we're going to see in this race is a full 24-hour cycle, so day to night today. So when you get to the very coldest point, you're going to go from cold, and slowly that grip's going to start coming back to you. You'll get more confident again. The lap times will get quicker, and you'll feel more confident in the car. How crucial is this day to night today cycle essentially going to be for these drivers? Because not many would have experienced a full 24-hour cycle in a game before.
I agree. It's very challenging. It's hard enough doing a day to night transition. I mean, I've proved that point easily. and then doing that almost in a reverse again is hard in itself. But then, and also you need to just be careful with everything possible.
Yeah, you do, and it's all about as well maybe drivers who haven't adapted to night racing before. It's going to be a new experience for them. This car has not really been used maybe as much as some of the other ones we've seen used in championships before, like the Bentley Speed 8 or something like that. So it's not one that many drivers could be as familiar with, but it's all going to be about who's got the best overall package. And right now Pro Drifter seems to still be that man. He's increased the gap, as we said he made earlier on. It was 2000s, it's now nearly half a second, so incredible pace by Pro Drifter. And this man, over the last couple of championships, has just turned into a different driver completely.
I mean, yeah, you know, these championships can transform a lot of people, you know, making the slow people like me near winners at one point. No.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all going to come down to this. So what can Pro Drifter do? Because right now, goes through that tunnel, he's got himself half a second lead. He's also got 2 minutes left to go, so approximately just over one more lap until the session comes to a close. So
yeah.
how much is this going to be crucial? I mean, we've got a couple of drivers lining up in the firing line to set some good laps. I mean, one of them we've got to keep an eye on, I think, is Kepi the Legend. He's only a 10th away from the man in second place, extremely fast, but he does have a brilliant draft from AGO6, which is surely going to be benefiting him a lot more than what the other two drivers are getting.
Right, but you need to remember that having someone in front of you is a double-edged sword. Essentially, double-edged sword, like right there. I mean, he just flat out ran into AGO6 there. That just ruined his next lap. So, Liam, I think you got commentator's curse right there. But what I was initially going to say was, it's a double-edged sword. You need to watch. You need to get the slipstream on the straightaway, but then pass the guy in the tight technical sector where you need all the clean air you can get. And just wanted to also say, extremely fast cut down the gap. Now it's only just a hair over 2.3 of a second now.
Absolutely, and he's gone out for another time as Kepi the Legend. Now it's kind of interesting. We'll see if he can get or squeeze another lap in, but as of right now, Pro Drifter got a clean track in front of him now in the final attempt of his qualifying session. Kepu will have a bit of a draft as well, the car in front of our race leader on circuit at the moment. And nice to see a bit of coloured variety in terms of the Pagani's now as well. We've got a couple of people experimenting with the bright yellow livery, which does look absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is one of the most beautiful cars in the game that you can buy, to be honest with you. I mean, it's got curves, it's got everything, and then the sound is just, it's so good.
They really are one of a kind, aren't they, really, in terms of what the car can deliver, the perfect blend of a supercar and a road car. Let's just wait and see what Kepi can do then, because he's gone a bit wide there. I think that's because of the dirty air. But, oh, he's come out, so end of the session. So he's pulled out of the lap. The checkered flag's flying, so whatever drivers do now will be their final qualifying attempt. So the question is, what has Pro Drifter got in the tank? He's got a clear track in front. I don't think he's on a lap though. I think he's on just an out lap, it seems. I know the extremely fast is on a lap. He's about to come towards the end of his right now. Through the final corner, he needs to find 2.3 tenths. He's got it down already. Will there be much law? Can he get it over the line and into pole position, or no? No, he can't.
Doesn't seem it.
And he'll start from second on the grid then. As we just wait for the majority of the field to end their session. I think it's just Pro Drifter we're waiting for now, along with one other driver, who is Mr. Jolly. Currently P10.
Luke Sky 80 is still on the lap, just to point that out.
Still Luke Sky and the leader and winner, of course, of the last race, but Jolly over the start-finish line he comes. Will this be good enough to elude him a position? No, it won't. But Luke Sky 80, very well pointed out, he's going towards the end of the lap, and he'll be very familiar with this car and track now, surely. He's driven already a big 13-lap race, but now driving a 22-lap race, so another 9 laps added on top of that, which is about another almost 20 minutes of racing. It's going to be difficult for him. as he makes his way towards the end of the lap then. Just a couple more corners to go, and then we'll find out where he'll start the race from. It's going to be, I think, a very intriguing afternoon, but where will he start from? The answer is still 14. The 2:14's not quick enough. So, Pro Drifter's on pole, and he's going to be trying to make his charge into a race win in the final round of the Out of This World Championship. We'll be right back with you shortly for the full race. Okay, so welcome back live to your Simraceway Out of This World Championship for 2014. It's the finale, and it's Pro Drifter on pole position live here at Area 51. Liam Jenkins and John Daniels in the commentary box to call all of the action for you. And what a night of action it's going to be. Pro Drifter looks to try and secure yet another victory. Extremely fast, almost pipped into the line there. They were so close in quali. Will they be close now as the three lights go out? A big start by Pro Drifter as Vardy does immediately to the middle there, so making his intentions very clear as the cars hustle and bustle through the tight apex. Indeed, we've seen many a crash through here, and Cortese's off, and that's the first casualty of the day. G. Cortese takes a spin, and as the rest of the drivers make their way in towards turn number 2. It was a great start. Flower at 89 takes a couple of positions and then loses him straight away as he runs out of road. So Pro Drifter still in firm control, but extremely fast. Try and one up the inside, and an early pass around this circuit, John, can be so vital.
One sec.
Let's just see then what Pro can do, because he's got a gaggle of cars all behind at this stage. He hasn't got away maybe as quick as he would have liked. Extreme young Kepu still very much so pressuring him.
I mean, yeah, very much so indeed.
But they're doing the very best they can then, and you can just see, very wide there in fact. Was, I think it must have been AGO6, yes it was, in the blue. Pagani's on there in P5. Keep an eye on what Lounge is doing there. He's been under attack there from extremely fast. Always a nice move, but he'll run out of road. Lounge is going to have a much better drive.
Yeah, indeed. You just need to be careful though too as well.
Absolutely, they come towards the end of lap number 1, and still Lounger holding on, but it's a very pressurable situation. He's been attacked from all angles. Is extremely fast, and AGO6 look to really take that one from him. You've got Kepu the Legend looking to maybe go for a cheeky move or a opportunity. Oh, he's in a bollard! And that's the first time we've seen contact like that. Severio hit the back of him. No chain reaction ensued, but my goodness me,
wow.
Kepu the Legend on the engine. Is it the engine on fire? Yes, it is! The Magico's engine's on fire.
Oh,
he's out of the
word.
race, and a retirement for DeMagico. Big shock.
Indeed.
And there is Grafindel spinning the car round, so he's been in the walls also. But nonetheless, over the line then, and what a chaotic first lap that must have been, is extremely fast. Opens to the outside on Lounger. Oh, and that was textbook.
Oh, I mean, indeed, yeah.
Now to see if he can keep hold of it, but not quite. Lounger's able to defend very nicely.
Yeah, and very hard to defend at this track as well. I mean, it's so wide, you can't literally go back and forth like normally you would. Gotta defend very tight, and I'll be right back.
So, absolute chaos ensuing here around Area 51 as the drivers tried to get themselves into some sort of tolerable order, I'd say, because right now it's all a little bit crazy back there, especially as Luke Sky tries to defend off AGO6. That's the battle for 4th position. AGO is still trying to go around the outside, doing everything he can there to attack Luke Sky 80, but to no avail just yet. His finest efforts not quite being rewarded. AGO6 turns a good defender, but Luke Sky, having already driven 13 laps to this circuit earlier on, is now going to drive another 22 in the same car. It's going to be a very difficult race for him, but still running P4 in a skill quant where the drivers are notoriously fast and notoriously more competitive. Luke Sky is looking strong, and that's absolutely brilliant to see. Extremely fast, and Lounger holds on to second place very well at the moment. But Severio's going to drive through for the incident with Kepu the Legend, it seems. Two drivers doing a nice job so far of hitting each other, I'd say, so anyway, for it. Very disciplined driving by extremely fast. He hunts for a manoeuvre round. And in towards turn 1 again, extremely fast still, hunting for a manoeuvre around Lounger. These two pretty much acting like it's a touring car race. It's only lap number 3, and you cannot separate them. To the inside he goes. Blue's on there, attacking Lounger's yellow, but Lounger being very, very smart there, using the outside line, knowing he's got more room to put the power down, and in turn, that has handed him the position for just a few corners longer. Whether he'll be able to hold on to it or no is another issue. So still plenty of action in store for you around the Area 51 circuit. Luke Sky on AGO 6 also starting to get very close to comfort. Indeed, Luke Sky defending still, as we say, the man who's already driven a lot of laps here around this circuit today, but none quite a full 24-hour day to night cycle. Then we've got the 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th battle that is between Anxiety, Seacombe, Jolly, Cortese. At this early stage, they come towards the end of lap number 3, about halfway through the lap at the moment. Jolly PA looking to maybe put a move on Seacombe before the time expires of the lap, well, before the overtaking opportunity expires, because they won't stay this close for long. These drivers are all extremely fast, they all want to be as high up as they can, and they often do tend to split into 2 or 3 evenly paced groups. Seen it happen many a time here in Simraceway, and I'm sure we'll see it happen again here today. So, we've still got pretty much all of our racers in, except for one retirement. Here was the Magico, and that was with a bit of contact earlier on, but luckily I think he'll be in high heart, so he knows he's got pace and he'll carry that in towards our next championship. We'll have a full announcement of that on our Facebook page, and so similar next week. You won't want to miss it. It's going to be a thrilling championship. And look at that battle form now. It's all the way up to P4. Luke Sky has kind of got a Luke line behind him because he's got the entire midfield lined up, all waiting for a chance to attack. It's tremendous to watch, but also quite scary when you know what these guys are capable of and you know how quick they are. There's Anxiety doing as much as he can with AGO 6. Deacon to the inside, not quite through that time, but these cars getting very close for comfort. You wouldn't think that this is close to, you know, 500,000 pounds of machinery as 2 of them spin. And off goes Jolly. And I think, well, he's lost the rear spoiler, hasn't he? And that's Cortese off as well. So Cortese in the walls once again. And that's a real shame as Seacombe goes to the inside. Can he make the move stick or no? The answer to that question, sorry, is not quite just yet, but the sun's starting to fade here. You can already see the track getting a bit darker as some of the drivers experiment with the lights on the car. Mr. Jolly, one of them, having lost the rear spoiler. Real shame there for Jolly. We were expecting big things from him this afternoon. Another big thing could be coming from Seacombe as he goes up the inside of AGO 6. AGO tries to get the cut back, but not quite there. Oh, and they make contact, and Seacombe spins. And that's a real shame. The 2 drivers were neck and neck. It's such a tight portion of the racetrack. And that's cost him dearly as Graf Findel tries to go around the outside, ducks underneath. And I'm not too sure what he's trying to do there. And that's AGO 6 who's hit the corner barrier. Done there. That's a bit of an interesting move. He's sort of stuck. He's going to get it going again. He's already dropped way down the order. But some intriguing scenes here as we come towards the end of lap 4 and start our 5th lap of the circuit. So, Luke Sky under pressure from Anxiety again. This time could be a little bit more adventurous as Anxiety goes to the inside. But it's already been, as we say, a brilliant opening stint to the race as Luke Sky and Anxiety both put their lights on at similar times. run through the order so far then. Pro Drifter from Extremely Fast, Lounger P3, Luke Sky 4th, Anxiety is in P5, Grafindel in 6th, Seacom 7th, 8th place Flower 89, 9th is Cortese, 10th Severio, 11th Mr. Jolly, 12th AGO6 and 13th Kepu the Legend as Jolly peels into the pit lane, so presumably to try and get that rear spoiler reattached, because that's not going to be the easiest handling car around the circuit right now. And you can see the sun start to set as the track gets ever more gracious. The drivers start to realise the grip levels are going to drop, but Pro Drifter 17-second lead over Extremely Fast and Lounger and Co at the moment. Lounger's third, Luke Sky 4th, 5th place Anxiety, 6th place Grafindel, 7th is Seacom, but pressuring him very greatly in fact is Seacom. We'll see what he can do as a stop and go apparently for Grafindel. I'm assuming that will get revoked. The two cars running very close to the fence there indeed, and that's may gonna try to be a little bit of an issue a bit later on during the race. Wait and see. Still, as we say, plenty of action that this circuit has to offer just yet. By no means over, and we've got a long race ahead of us as Seacom goes wide there, and that seemingly allowed Grafindel to run away into the sunset almost. And an update as well onto what's happening right in the heart of the field. It's all looking a little bit pear-shaped because Anxiety P5 still attacking Luke Sky, but out of nowhere, Luke's got a lot of momentum. He's seeming like he's gained a bit of speed recently, getting more confident with the car. And it's going to really be interesting to see if Anxiety can hold on or no. Luke Sky having already driven plenty of laps here today. He's not exactly shy of the circuit. He's been on it, I think, more than potentially any other driver. Driving 2 quali sessions, 2 warm-ups, and then a combined total race distance of what will easily be 35 laps. It's not an easy thing to do. A nice battle that was forming was over P2 with Lounger and Extremely Fast, and I think the two drivers have almost settled their differences right now as Lounger tries to put the move back on him through the final corner. Let's keep you updated on lap times then. Pro Drifter starts lap number 7 with a 209.4, a 211 for Extremely Fast, a 210.4 for Lounger. Over the line goes Luke Sky 80, and he's able to complete a 212.7, sorry, a 213.2 for Anxiety. And Lounger almost actually had the pit button. Now, interestingly enough, drivers have said that they're almost playing second guessing when it comes to how much fuel they need for this race. Now, that is a bizarre feature indeed. They want to try and get this right. They don't want to risk it all, but this track very hard to predict. 22 laps as the day to night cycle takes a step up. Of course, it will go back to daytime very shortly, but these drivers are going to have to endure quite a while under the darkness of Area 51, where all sorts of spooky things exist, including UFOs, and I'm sure we could even see a couple of unidentified flying cars at this rate, because the pace from Pro Drifter is unrelenting on his 7th lap of the circuit. He really is defining the field pace right now. Absolutely remarkable stuff.
Oh yeah, indeed. I'm sorry guys, I'm just back. It was slight occurrence at where I was, but yeah, the pace is incredible.
There he goes. Yeah, he's got that pit button lit, but I can't see him really making a stop on lap number 7 of 22. If anything, it will be about lap number 13, maybe 14.
Yeah, yeah, maybe
over the line he goes, and it's a 2:10.6, so slightly slower than where he was last time by. It was a 2:09 last time, and AGO6 has officially retired. Then he's had a race in the wars, I think, to describe the least. He hasn't exactly had the easy afternoon out, but see what he can do next championship. Of course, this is a conclusion, and that will go down as a result, so we may have to use that as a drop round and just count the previous 3 results.
Yeah, it's very beneficial to all the drivers, as though they may have had a bad incident, whether they had a bad internet connection or they got taken out by someone else or something like that.
And now the sky looks absolutely gorgeous right now. You can see all the different nebulas, and oh, and something that's not so beautiful. That's the first incident we've seen in that tunnel all afternoon. G. Cortese out of the race. The front right tyre has completely, the front right wheel, I beg your pardon, has completely come off. The entire wheel off the car. Absolutely remarkable. I've never seen someone crash at that corner before. Today's race at least. So very bizarre incident to crash your knee, but with grip levels fading, with the track being under very cold, very dark conditions, it's going to mean that, you know, these quicker apexes where drivers are used to, I think, taking a lot more speed, they're looking to maybe use the grip or the lack of grip to maybe drift the car through and push a bit more, but it's just not going to work.
Yeah, and by the way, Liam, I hate to say this, but I'm going to need to go ahead and leave at this point, but very good racing all so far that I've seen today, and I'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, indeed it is, and John, I mean, is that you've witnessed a lot of racing here tonight, but has there been a particular driver that stood out to you in the first stint of this one?
I think it's just the sheer pace of Pro Drifter, to be honest with you, at this point.
It really has been something else at the front of the field, isn't he?
Oh yeah, indeed. Very much so. Anyway, I'll see y'all next week, wherever that may be.
Well, thank you very much, John, and we look forward to seeing you back racing and commentating very shortly. We'll take an eye back into what's happening on circuit. The battle for Lounger extremely fast, gets extremely intense, extremely fast, moves to the inside in the blue Pagani's on there, and Lounger tries to come back underneath, it's not enough, and extremely fast makes a dazzling move under the night sky here at Area 51. Now, what is Lounger capable of in retaliation? Can he come back or no? That's going to be the next big question. He's definitely trying, isn't he? Trying to go around the outside here, there and everywhere, but... But Lounger still attacking extremely fast then as we approach lap number 10. Almost, sorry, voice going a bit there. It's been a long afternoon. We've seen some brilliant racing. But what an afternoon that Pro Drifter's had so far. John mentioned it. Unrelenting pace. He's on lap number 9 now, almost lap number 10. And he's just showing no sign of backing down whatsoever. The run through of the retirements here today and the attrition rate, which Area 51 claims more specimens to be zapped up to space and probed and turned into aliens possibly. We've got Quite a few. We've had the Magico was our first retirement. Then Mr. Jolly, who, as we say, if you pardon the pun again, won't be so jolly after that one. AJ06 and G. Cortese join them in the paddock, or presumably to be zoomed up to space and watching from a UFO. But I think that when you take a look at what is exactly at stake here, it's the final round of the championship. It's all about either going for a big result to get points that are consistent, or it's all going to be the complete opposite. And it's risking it all because you either want big points, be conservative, no, just try and get a top 5 finish to, you know, get a nice solid 3-race bid. Or the other one is to just go all out, you've got nothing to lose, get yourself a big point score, and end the championship with a bang. So lap 10 of 22, and Pro Drifter still remains untouched at the front of this field. 31 seconds back to extremely fast now. It's a gap, absolute animal driving in front. You've got to think he is an alien, isn't he, driving here today? If the alien sort of sent him down because he's done such a good job. He's led from lap 1, he's never looked back, he's been doing the fastest laps. Going for the triple once again, he's already done it once this season. Do it once again. Extremely fast, Lounger, Luke Sky, Anxiety and Seacom, all drivers that look to make an impact here as the field separates out under nightfall. Of course, it will start getting lighter very shortly again as we do a full day to night cycle, so the darkness is ending as Anxiety almost loses that Zonda. Very lucky to keep control of it and point it in the right direction. That could have ended horrifically, to be quite frank. He's very lucky that that car was still pointing forwards. Ralfindo, Severio, Kepu the legend, Flaren, they're all your remaining drivers. 10 drivers left in this race, as one of them looks to be lapped from Pro Drifter, who's once again absolutely flying, isn't he? An extremely fast second. He's got the pit button lit, bizarrely enough. He's pulled out about 7 seconds in front of Lounger after the impressive pass we saw on camera. He's now looked to really take that race into his own hands and push off into the sunset, isn't he? Really looking back, he's going the right way about it. You can't blame him. We're about halfway through this race right now. We come towards the end of this lap, so still going to be plenty for these drivers to do. And of course, with the conditions ever changing, the track now getting lighter and the grip will start gradually increasing. It's going to leave a lot of work for the pairing at the front of the field, but it's all about what Extremely Fast has got himself in the tank right now. And I thought I was into the pit lane then, was going to be a lapped car, but it wasn't. Pro Drifter comes across the line, starts at number 12 at 2:08.8. That man is literally flying right now. Absolutely remarkable pace. You know, I haven't seen someone get quicker and quicker and quicker at a rate this man has. Got Pro Drifter, Extremely Fast, Lounger and Luke Sky. And people, Luke Sky also with a pit button lit at 2:11 that time for the winner of the B race earlier on. And a very strong showing that really was as well. Absolute utter class from that man. So to not only win a skill quant, but to go into the next race where the stakes are higher, the competition is tougher, the race is almost double. and you've got a full 24-hour day to night cycle and still be in the top 5 is a very respected feat. We said Luke Sky had been one of the most improved drivers. I think he could be the most improved. Now that is a great showing from Luke Sky 80, and I'm hoping he does get commended for that, because that is simply a beautiful drive. If he can drive the second half of this race the exact same way he's driven the first, he thoroughly deserves that second place. And we've got a car stopped on circuit. And it's Flaren 89 that's lost the car in P10. So Flaren, now that is a real shame. He's got to get that back to the pit lane, I think. I don't think there's any damage to the car, but nonetheless, it was a big moment. I don't think he collected any other drivers, which was very lucky, but let's just wait and see how it all comes out, because that was really a mighty, mighty stunt indeed. And we've got Lounger in the pits. He's missed his stop. Has he missed a pit box? He has. He's missed a pit box and leaving now. I'm assuming that was a scheduled pit stop. We said about lap 13, 14, the pit stop window would declare itself as open essentially, but so Lounger's come out in P4. That's moved Pro Drifter down after, I'm presuming, he stopped because Extremely Fast would know be at the lead of this race. So Pro Drifter's in, out of the pits again. But yeah, we do think that Lounger's missed the pit box. I'm providing that he's got it out, because he otherwise would have been in the pits for about 20 seconds. And that's not including the stop. Oh, we've got a spin. And that's Graufindl. Yeah, just trying to nurse the car. A lot of these drivers having trouble with fuel saving. As the track gets lighter, the grip level's catching a few drivers out. That's 2 now in the last 5 minutes that have had issues. Now, what is Extremely Fast got up his sleeve? And through Extremely Fast goes, and he's still done a brilliant job. But he's going to pit in or no? That's going to be the key. He's still got a long way to go on 1 tank of fuel. I shouldn't imagine he's going to try and go the whole distance, but even so, it's no immediate danger as such for Pro Drifter, because 20 seconds down the road isn't really going to mean that much. There's no immediate traffic for the man in second place. But they start at number 14 of 22 then, so the laps are slowly coming down. Graufindl 4th, Lounger 5th, Seacombe in 6th. So you've got to say though, as day to night comes towards its close now and it almost becomes night to day again, the track does look absolutely remarkable under this sort of condition. So we're just believing that Yeah, so Lounger did make it in the end. Oh, he's made it now, so Lounger's in the pits again. So Lounger finally gets in, but that's going to cost him a huge chunk of time. And he's going to lose a lot of positions indeed. He's going to roll down the pit lane, crawl down. He'll stay in front of Severio, that's not an issue, but the point is, he's lost himself a lot of ground and a lot of time. Out he comes. And still looking the strongest potentially that he ever has. Now into and after that stop, because the car will be finally fueled again. We've got a bit of movement in the pit lane as well. That's Severio coming in. After missing your pit box, you don't want to do it again. So now with the car being fueled to what it should be, it's going to mean very easily seconds in, or so we can just rest off a bit now, but extremely fast, still 18 seconds in front. I'll keep you updated on laps. 2:09.5 from extremely fast, so he's not exactly going slowly. Extremely fast, he's doing some brilliant times out there. That is very interesting indeed, because he's actually pulling away from Pro Drifter. Obviously his car will be a lot lighter, but at the same time those tyres will be a lot more worn. It's not exactly ideal for Pro Drifter 1000, but even so, extremely fast is putting on quite the show out there. Can he turn this into a victory or no? I think is a little bit overstepping the mark, because he's got a long way on that fuel, about 8 laps in fact left to stop, so not exactly the easiest thing in the world to accomplish, especially a circuit that's going to consume as much fuel as this. The amount of changes you do regarding inside the car in terms of how hard you push the rev limiter. Luke Sky 18 third, Grafindel in 4th, Seacom in 5th, and Twilight in 6th. And these drivers may be getting hungry right now, not for dinner, but for breakfast, because daylight will be dawning on the circuit once again very, very shortly, as we just take a couple of seconds to admire the sights and the sounds of Area 51 under night time. So, welcome back to live and uninterrupted coverage here of the final round of your Simraceway 2014 Out of This World Championship. The finale is upon us, and what a race it's been so far. It's been decimated out front by Pro Drifter, who has made his stop. Extremely fast, still yet to stop and pulling away, which is very intriguing. As you said before, he's a fast man. It's extremely fast, if you pardon the pun. It's not really an immediate threat, I would say, but as we were saying, extremely fast as the day-night day starts to beckon once again. Dawn is Area 51 when all of the bad monsters and sprites go away, all of the aliens return to Mars, and it's left for the drivers to bring home their cars in what has been already a very gruelling race for a lot of them. It's already been way over half an hour now. We're lap 16 of 22. As Grafindel goes over the line, Seacom also 36th, but Flaren 89 was unhappy. He's actually been disqualified. Flaren 89, we'll keep you an update on that as soon as the information comes in. With Flaren out of the race, that brings us to exactly 9 runners left remaining, we believe, including Severio. So Deacon, Grafindel, Luke Sky, Pro, and Extremely Fast. Oh, Extremely Fast does elect to pit. Now he's got 25 seconds. Is this enough? Because he's not going to need to take on as much fuel, of course. He started out in a heavy tank. He's going to take just enough, providing all goes well, to get into the end of the race. No more, no less. Now that's going to be a very vital factor come the end of this race. Is extremely fast, going to shot the well. No, he's 12 seconds away. I think the gap's updated. He's lost a lot of time somewhere. Pro Drifter's been flying. So it's disqualification for McLaren for no headlights on the car. So that explains why McLaren 89 is no longer racing, as extremely fast doesn't pit in. He thinks he needs another lap to maybe eke out some time, a 209.8 and a 209.0 from Pro Drifter. So Pro now getting back in the zone, those tyres and brakes back up to optimum temperature. He's getting quicker, isn't he? And Pro Drifter back up to full fighting form again. It's been a really exceptional afternoon, isn't it? And you can see now the sky taking a very cold in the opening morning. In fact, it may even get a bit colder before it gets warmer. As Pro Drifter goes off the circuit and he's just trying everything he can to keep his car firmly planted, because what he's got to do is bring it home. He's got a tremendous lead over Luke Sky, in fact 48 seconds. Luke Sky could be in with a shout of a podium here. He's in third at the moment. Pro Drifter's got a pit button again. Now that is weird. We're not expecting another stop, so fingers crossed for him that that's not a mistake and we're not going to see another Pro Drifter stop. But let's wait and see what extremely fast can muster up. So extremely fast carries on yet again though, bizarrely enough, as we said last time. Will he carry on this time? By he comes towards the end of his lap. Let's just maybe keep an eye out, because this is by no means over. There's still, I think, quite a wait with these drivers, well, in terms of weighting, in terms of physical weight on the cars now, as the grip levels will be fluctuating so much they won't know where to place themselves. Over the line again, not stopping. It's lap 18 now. There's only 7 laps left to go. It's extremely fast, trying to go the whole way. Really wouldn't surprise me. So as the day really does get back underway now, glorious sight, isn't it, as the blue skies return to Area 51, the beautiful scenic circuit, based of course on the Area 51 testing base, with a very quiet race out there today. Seek and P5 with the pit button lit, so still waiting to get to the pit lane, I think, but see if that's an error or no later on. But the gap between the two leaders now is 31 seconds apparently. Again, we'll see how valid that is next time they go across the line. So 2 disqualifications then. Well, only one really, is McLaren 89, and that was after no headlights on the circuit. So it's extremely fast now, approaches some traffic. He moves gladly out of the way, no fight at all there. And as extremely fast comes over the line then, lap 19 of 22. 4 more laps to go. See what this young man can do. As out of the pits comes a certain Mr. Kepu the legend. That's in 8th position for him so far, so solid race. But one man who's impressed us so much today has been Luke Sky 80. I mean, he's right in the heart of the field now. Him versus the tarmac, 3rd place. Great stuff, absolutely great stuff. To win the B race, to be promoted into the A race. You know, those drivers normally finish between 12th and 7th on average, a couple of top 5s maybe, but to be in with a chance of a podium at this stage is absolutely fantastic. We've said Luke Sky has improved as time's gone on, but this is really something special. Into the pits he comes, and we've lost Anxiety. So intriguing indeed, but Anxiety out of the race, and we said already, now Fastman has requested a pit stop, so finally Extremely Fast may not be going the whole distance and has requested a pit. But Anxiety, the winner of the single-seater race earlier on, we said may not make it. Well, we don't may not make it, I beg your pardon. We just did say that it's been a run of consistency or inconsistencies that have stopped him from being one of those main competitors or main contenders for a championship. And it seems that that may have been the case here today. But even so, it was a strong result up until that point. Let's just wait and see if Extremely Fast will finally take the dive to come in, because I think the saying's got to be AZ best, isn't it? He's the only man to try it before and succeed. He tried it back at Indianapolis in that glorious New Year's Championship. It was brilliant to watch, but unfortunately, it just was not meant to be for the two competitors. And he does come in, and AZ Best is able to pull an upset now. Will Extremely Fast, he couldn't go for the whole strategy. I think Pro Drifter's pretty much got it. Yes, he does. So Pro Drifter back in the lead of the race, but Extremely Fast is easily going to take a second place, providing there's no more issues on the circuit. So out of the pit lane he comes, and that will be, oh, it's easily in second place. No worry whatsoever. Luke's got another 1 minute and a half away after making his first stop after the, oh, in the afternoon, I should say, just a couple of moments ago. So 50 seconds is what separates Pro Drifter, and now we'll have I think a sigh of relief that Extremely Fast couldn't do an AZ Best, and that he does have the lead back, because he's definitely earned it, hasn't he? He's given it all out there today, and he's thoroughly deserved every single milestone he's accomplished. Pro Drifter will be fastest lap, it will be pole position, and he's looking to complete it with a victory. He's not that far away from it either, he's only got 3 more laps to go. So Pro done a brilliant job today so far, as is Extremely Fast. We said Luke Sky has one man we have not mentioned, however, is Seacombe in 4th position. He's done a very consistent job, in all honesty. He's played his strategy well, he's kept his nose out of trouble, and that battle for 4th early on was simply chaotic, in one word. There were cars left, right and centre, there was a lot of banging and clattering, almost touring car racing around Area 51, which was never going to end well. They've done a great job this afternoon, the entire top 4, but Seacombe has done something spectacular. He's kept himself in P4, he's kept his nose out of trouble, and for the first time in a long time, he's going to get himself a very good position, and it's going to give him, I think, a lot of momentum going in towards the next week championship. And I think, and many of us can wait for what that's going to be. There'll be some big announcements next week, so be sure to stay tuned on the Simraceway website. There's going to be some big news heading your way regarding the next edition of the Simraceway Championships. As we turn our attention to the man in P5, Graufindo hasn't exactly had the easiest race of the afternoon. He's so close now, but you can almost sense the top 5. And Pro making his way through lap number 21. He's halfway round. Extremely fast, has led to pit again. Now that is bizarre. If he's done so, that could be a very weird issue. I can't really see it being a legitimate case. But let's just wait and see how things pan out, because right now Extremely Fast is in second. He's got himself a good job. Those tyres weren't anywhere near be as, I'd say, worn as anyone else. You'll have the newest circuit, well, newest tyres on the circuit, but I think we've got to keep an eye on our race leader, because right now there's no other words for it. The man's an artist. The man is simply an artist and a deserving champion. He crosses the line. Final lap is underway. So Pro Drifter should take your eye on board, because I think that this man deserves all the credit he's got. He fought Ace Ricola a couple of championships ago to no avail. He was pipped at the last hurdle on many occasions. He's now come out in full force and decimated, and when I say decimated, I mean torn this championship to the ground, breaking record after record, fastest lap after fastest lap, pole after win after pole after win. Pro Drifter's going to continue that trend here today, and it's just simply a heroic sight to see. The man's an inspiration to anyone who wants to get involved in Simraceway championships. So hard-working, so dedicated, never giving up. And in turn, look where it's got him. He's halfway round his final lap now, and the champion has driven a champion's drive today. He hasn't been fighting all afternoon in a courageous battle. He hasn't been back and forth in the most exciting race of all time. But what he has done is deliver some consistently out of this world lap times. If you pardon the pun, Pro Drifter is on another playing field, and he is easily a deserving winner of this championship. There's not many corners left to go then. He's only got a couple. 1 minute 49 on the clock for this lap, and he's done such a brilliant effort so far. This championship has been his from start to finish. Come on then, Pro Drifter, let's give himself a standing ovation if you can, because this man deserves every bit of appraisal he'll receive over the start-finish line. And Pro Drifter not only wins the race, but he wins the Out of This World Championship in an out-of-this-world fashion. Pro Drifter is the king of Area 51. He is the king of Simraceway again. Stunning scenes for Pro Drifter. Second is Extremely Fast. Great result there for him. A brilliant strategy, played off beautifully. Third place for the man, and in my opinion, the driver of the day. Yes, it was Pro Drifter who took the convincing victory and sealed up the championship, but this man won a race in the B race earlier on. He was promoted to the A race, drove a race 8 laps more, 9 laps more I should say, in a full 24-hour cycle, with drivers in a skill quant far above his own. And where does he do? Where does he place that car? The answer is, he places it on the podium. Absolutely brilliant. But he's only just in front of Seacombe. It's not going to matter though. Luke Sky is going to bring his car over that start-finish line now on the podium. What a drive by Luke Sky 80. What a commendable drive. Seacombe takes fourth. A brilliant, consistent result there. The return of Seacombe is back. Lounger is going to take a disappointing fifth. I think the pit stop just played too much effect come the end of the race. It should have been maybe a little bit higher up, but that first pit stop he made, he missed the pit box. He had to second stop, and in turn, it's cost him dearly. Lounger's going to make his way over the start-finish line now. until the top 5. Graufinder will take 6th, Savario will take 7th, Kepu the legend will take 8th, with Anxiety retiring in 9th, Cortese in 10th, AGO 6 11th, 12th Jolly, 13th DeMagico, and that rounds out your runners for this race. A massive thank you to my co-commentator for today, John Daniels, to our cameraman and fearless racer, No Fear C, and to our events manager, Kasako, for making such a wonderful championship possible. Congratulations to Pro Drifter 1000, to all of our championship winners and our race winners for tonight. But from myself, Liam Jenkins, if you want to get in contact with us, please head over to our Twitter page at Simraceway, or my own at Liam Jenkins21. The Facebook page is facebook.com/SimRaceway, but New Horizons will be arriving next weekend on May the 4th, as Simraceway sets its feet into new territory for a brand new championship set to set the world on fire. We can't wait, and we'll see you next Sunday for another edition of a Simraceway Championship. Take care, guys, and happy belated Easter.
User disconnected from your channel.